And we're live. This
We're
is
live.
Josh Ingles, Carlo Colaiacovo talking about Foster Moreau's catching ability in the corner of the end zone. It's,
Donkey. Catch the ball. This guy eliminated me my Survivor
Our friend
promo.
Carlo has been eliminated from Survivor. It was a tough
Joke.
Thursday night battle. It was a
Joke.
tough first half for the Saints and Derek Carr. It was tough watching him on third down, that's for sure.
It was good
But
with you, though. You hit your Derek Carr props.
it's some Derek Carr. Yeah, it was a weird game. I don't know. I kind of came out even on it. But welcome to Covers' Puck Props with Jingles and Coco. I'm betting analyst Josh Ingles here with 14-year NHL pro Carlo Colaiacovo. How are you, bud?
I'm great, buddy. We start off my show on Fridays saying TGIF, and I'm going to say that right now. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday.
Let's go. Friday, 1 and 2. Wednesday, everything was plus 130. We hit the shot block, which is something.
Love your shot block.
And I swapped out Drew for Stutzel because of the Norris news, and obviously Giroux hit and Norris went off. That Ottawa team looks dangerous.
Yep. Either that or Washington looks really bad.
Right? Yeah, that could be it too. But both could be right. Yes. But let's get right into it. Calgary, Columbus. Calgary obviously played last night, that 4-3 win over Buffalo. Hitting the block shots again. I know how we love them. Ivan Provorov, over 1.5 block shots, minus 115. Since last year, Columbus has allowed the second most shots, which means shot block opportunities. Like you see, I don't know, some teams just don't get a lot of shots on net. You see that time in and time out, and some teams do. I talk about Carolina. Columbus allows a lot of shots, and Provorov just checks all the boxes. 40% time on ice. Projecting for like 2.65 on my end, not juiced at minus 115, PK1. I like it. What are your takes on this? As like someone like me who's a DJ who tries to find an edge on the smallest margins, what's your take on betting these niche markets?
Well, if you can find advantages to them, then yeah, absolutely. To me, I've never thought of being a block shot market guy, but if you can target the ones based on the data that's out there, then yeah, you can find value and find profit in these markets, which is something that you've clearly identified, going back to the last game when we hit Cider. And I'm just looking, like, what I focus on is teams' shots on goal average. And so the Columbus Blue Jackets give up almost 36 shots on net a game. And the Calgary Flames are 7th in the league with shots on goal almost 34 a game. So if you're focusing on a market right now for block shots, if they're getting that many shots on net, think how many attempts they're getting, which would obviously give more reason to highlight the block shots market for guys that play a lot, like on the penalty kill and top pairing, like Provorov does.
I'm so happy you said shot attempts because you're so close to dropping Fenwick. And Fenwick,
I won't do it. I won't say close. Fenwick.
You're talking about it. We just haven't.
The two names I will never say are Corsi and Fenwick because I absolutely despise them when I was playing in the game.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, pal. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
You can say it. I won't.
Yeah. But you do bring up a good point. I think the shot block market is being heavily priced on the team blocking shots when I think it's their opponent who is driving the actual outcome more than the players, right? Like I probably won't be looking for New Jersey Devil blocked on shots just because the Islanders aren't a team that generate a lot of
shots. Correct. Yeah.
It's just an opportunity thing. It's a numbers thing. I want more numbers. So that's it. And I think Columbus here just gives up a ton of shots, even on the back-to-back. But then on the other side here, Kirill Marchenko over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 115, and a point at plus 115. Going to split the unit in half there. I hate choosing one and choosing the other. When I have the same odds, I might as well go on both. Leads the team in shot attempts per 60, shots on goal per 60. He's playing just 16 minutes a game, but he's getting all the ozone starts, 25%. He's playing with Gaudreau and Jenner, so that makes him the shooter. And he's on PP1. So He's got 3 5-on-5 points through 3 games. Calgary is a tough team to get shots, but he's projecting for 2.65 here, better than a 50% win rate. Markstrom hasn't looked great out of the gates. And to get your perspective on it, Calgary traveling back-to-back, and this might be our first, our first opportunity to talk about it, but why don't you explain to the listeners what goes through a back-to-back time-wise from the game last night to getting to the hotel, playing hotel, and getting ready, especially for a trip from Buffalo to Columbus?
Well, a trip from Buffalo to Columbus wouldn't necessarily be a long one. The things you would pay attention to on the first end of the back-to-back, which is what you're focusing on with Calgary, is how many minutes did their top players play? Did it go to overtime? How long was the game? Are they getting in before midnight? Are they getting in after midnight? Those things usually tend to have an effect on what type of team you'll see the next day. They always say, at least a lot of the study that I've learned, is that every hour you get to sleep before midnight is an hour you've gained in sleep after midnight in the morning. So if you're getting in at 1 o'clock, you're losing an hour of sleep, plus it'll take you an extra hour to get going the next day. Now, normal players, most of the players will tell you that's the hardest thing to do after a game is fall asleep right away, because you're just so full of adrenaline and the uppers that you take for the games, like the juices and the Red Bulls and stuff like that. Takes you time to calm down and relax. But for Calgary going into Columbus, I can't imagine that travel would be that much of an impact. But they did play a tough game in Buffalo yesterday. Like Buffalo, that was a game that went right down to the wire. I would expect Columbus to jump on Calgary, because they might have a little bit of the quicksand legs, as they would say, early on to start that game in Columbus today. But Calgary has shown that their team right now that is obviously trying to prove people wrong, but they find ways to create chances through the neutral zone, and they find a way to get a lot of shots on net.
Yeah.
So against the young, inexperienced, I'm not sure who we're going to see in net for Columbus tonight, but this is a game that Columbus needs to win, because I think it's the last game of their homestand before they actually get on the road. And they're already 1-2 on this homestand, so you kind of want to finish it on a good note.
Awesome. Poe Degen saying Coronado anytime goal scorer plus 300. He's playing PP2. He's playing on that Blake Coleman, Michael Backlund line, which might be the most trusted
their
line.
Best line right now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's it's a funny one. It's a hard team to look at props, because Huska is just running just kind of like what they did last year. It's 3 lines basically, and they're all getting about 17 minutes a game, so it's tough. Oh God, did you see Phillies? I was watching the Philly game, and Torts is running a house league bench where it's like everybody's on every team, like
everybody's playing the same.
Oh, it was all the shifts were like 18, 17, 16.
See, but you know what? I admire Torch from that, because I watched a lot of the first half of that game. I had 4 TVs going here at my setup, and the thing you really got to admire about a John Tortorella coach team, when all cylinders are clicking, every line plays almost the same way.
Yeah.
Right? They compete, they check, they force turnovers, they create scoring chances. That's literally what every line was doing. So you can't really blame him for rolling them the way that he did.
And they beat Edmonton 3-1, so it's going to keep going.
He trusted the guys that were going on the ice. So that's a huge credit to the players.
Yeah, no, 100%. So if you're looking for props out in that market, be careful of the overs, just because there's not a lot of ice time going around at 5-on-5. But let's get to the big one. New Jersey Islanders.
Yeah.
Let's go. Devils money line minus 120.
Yes.
Right out there for Nobles. I need a pick for that. He's thinking Devils money
line. Loving this right now. He's loving this right now.
So are we. There are 2 words, Carlo, that strike fear in every hockey player's mind, and that is Bagskate. Explain to me why Lindy Ruff is using it to motivate the Devils after a lackluster start to the season.
Well, a Devils season that is 1-1-1 after playing all three of their games at home. It was interesting to see his strategy in the third period of last game versus the Florida Panthers, where he benched Timo Meier, a guy they just signed for the next 8 years, one of their highest paid players. He benched John Marino, one of their top four defensemen, and Curtis Lazar, who's a veteran player. Didn't see a shift in the third period. So clearly that was Lindy Ruff sending a message to this team that, look, we have expectations to live by, and some of the guys aren't living up to them right now, thinking not taking this serious now. So I'm going to prove a point. Well, they lose the game in Florida, and that was Monday. And I can tell you right now, as a player, when you have this much of a gap between games, you never ever want to finish the last game going into this type of gap on a bad note, because it just gives reason for the coaches to absolutely kill you in practices. And if you haven't seen the video, there's video out there of Lindy Ruff running a tough skate for a lot of these players 4 games into the season.
Nuts.
Okay? So clearly that's a message sent by the coach. It's got to be a message received by the players. And I would think after this many days off and having those type of practices, you're probably going to see a response from this stuff. I would be very surprised if you didn't see anything but a response for this stuff. And if you don't see a response, that might be more of a concerning thing for this Devils team. So you're getting good value here. Remember, the Devils are a team that most people predicted would be the top team in the East. -20, it's like a pick 'em against the Islanders. And look, the Islanders, okay, they've won 2 games to open the season here, but they haven't done anything flashy. They're getting great goaltending. They beat Buffalo 3-2. Buffalo had a couple of their own mistakes that ended up in their back of their net, and they beat Arizona 1-0. So it's not like they're doing a ton to generate all kinds of this offense, and they're this crazy offensive juggernaut of a team. Yeah, okay, they're not giving up much defensively. They're getting great goaltending, but if the Devils play at the level they're capable of playing at, this game could be a track meet for the Devils, and they should steamroll the Islanders.
All right, let's get some of that Devils money line -120. Looking at block shots, Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock project well in this. Nothing on a play here, but they both project well, especially if the Devils come out and just don't get cute and just start firing pucks on net. Both of those guys around -30, -135, over 1.5. You mentioned Marino. He's plus 125 for 1.5 blocks. So maybe his ice time. Yeah, there's something there. A little plus money on that side. All odds courtesy of Sports Interaction. But there's something to like. And then on the Devil side, Dougie Hamilton leads all defensemen in shot attempts per 60. He's been a beast back there. Jack Hughes is shooting at an elite level, but it's obviously priced in. I think he's -170 over 3.5. It's not a number I want to touch, but maybe against a different opponent that works well. And on the other side, the Islanders are such an ugly team to like play on a prop wise, just because they're not a high scoring team and they don't get a lot of shots on net. But Kyle Palmieri and Brock Nelson leading the way in terms of shot production, both 2-0 to the over on their shot attempts, their shots on goal to begin the season. So that's where we are today. 3 plays, a little more information, teaching the listeners about what happens when you slug out of the gates with Lindy Ruff in a 4-game slate. But that is crazy though that you mentioned it's only 4 games into the season. Yeah. Like that's serious. Like it's good to hear if they respond well for what New Jersey will be later down the road.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, their response after these last couple of days and what they've had to, endure in the message will give you a true indication of what we should expect from this New Jersey Devils team this year.
Fantastic. Ivan Provorov over 1.5 block shots in the first game, -115. Kirill Marchenko over 2.5 shots, +115, and a point, +115. Splitting the unit in half on both of those sides. And then the Devils money line, -120. Expect them to come out firing, whether that leads to, I don't know, maybe a first period money line, maybe a first period team total over 1.5. That's good plus
with
money.
Sorokin in that, that's kind of a tough task.
I know that's the tough point. So even if they come out flying, Sorokin can still steal the game. That's the worrisome part. But expect at least a better effort from New Jersey coming off. tough start and some time off where Lindy Ruff really gave it to him. So that will do it for us here on Covers Puck Props. Odds courtesy Sports Interaction. Let's leave this for Friday. Be back here tomorrow, pal, for a full slate. Maybe some Leafs action. The Leafs looking hot, so maybe we'll get on them.
Or not.
Oh, no. Yeah. They're a great team from playing behind. They are a great from behind team. That's their strength. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is Covers. Lead us out, pal.
And thanks for all the people that chimed in on the chat. We encourage that. Ciao.